Jim Duke Radio Network. A rational voice in a world of conspiracy. Jim Duke Perspective.
I was browsing through some articles, and I came across Pandemic as a Catalyst for the New World Order by Jill Glasspool Malone. Never heard of her, but I'm just bringing up, you got to remember some of these are they're not mainstream media. There's a couple sets of media. One is mainstream media. That's the one that's bought and sold under the 5 different corporations. And then there's conspiracy propaganda media, where it's giving the inside scoop of things, but it's still controlled. Like Alex Jones, for instance.
Right. He doesn't give you the whole truth.
No.
Yeah.
And so there's sites that expose this stuff, but they're diverting you. And then there's really deep sites. I want to say that we're part of that deeper site because we don't have any boundaries. However, we're not as publicized as they are. Mm-hmm. So we're a small niche group. Matter of fact, my numbers are decreasing. Do you know why my numbers are decreasing at all? What do you think it is? Do you think
either people?
Do you think it's me?
Maybe they're being abducted.
Change. Huh?
Yeah. They're being abducted.
All our listeners are going away. They're being incarcerated. They're being
listeners, watch out for any strange phenomena, either UFOs or Bigfoot or the Men in Black or something.
Well, that's a good theory, but I don't know. I mean, I'm the same me. You're the same you. We've been bringing these issues up.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Are you a simulation?
Yeah, that's our
Am I talking to AI, Darren? Is this
Maybe
AI?
The audience
Darren?
is AI.
What?
Huh? Maybe the audience is AI.
They're bots.
You're getting these algorithm responses and questions.
They have bots out there that do flood the market so that it looks like legitimate listeners, and it's not.
You can buy those too, right?
Yeah,
for more hits. Yeah,
I never bought anything. All my stuff's organic. That's why I don't have that many follows and stuff, because I don't go out and advertise and look for it.
And also, don't they knock numbers down too?
Yes.
Like if they don't like you? So maybe you have more than you're actually...
I don't know if the podcast host Spreaker does that.
Mm-hmm.
Because
okay, right.
Believe it or not, they reported that YouTube was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, they exposed that YouTube was doing that. They said we can't include their numbers because they're fraudulent, arbitrary numbers. YouTube tampers with their reporting. And they're not supposed to do that.
Right.
But they get away with it.
Of course.
They knock numbers down. They take away subscriptions.
Wow. Who's going to penalize them, right?
Yeah, who's going to penalize them?
Of course not. Yep, they do all that. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I've heard that before.
And that could be why my numbers seem to be going down. People tell me they're still out. Every time I say this, people tell me they're still out there. Mm-hmm. All 6 of you. I got in. I'm not in the thousands. There's people that have 20,000 listeners, and I don't know how they got up to that. I must be boring. Maybe I'm boring people, because I'm down quite significantly from that lately. I don't know. I dropped 70%. I took a big hit. I don't know why, but maybe people don't like us. All right, we wasted time. Let's get to. Do I get to a topic or what?
Might as well.
All right. Yep. So I got this WEF report. Well, pandemics for catalyst for New World Order. I don't even know if it's WEF. It is, but it gets to it. Each nation in the world has its own culture, governing structures, traditions, borders, and people, right? And at least we used to. The Bible says that in Acts 17:26 and Genesis 11 that God sets up the boundaries in nations for the sake of, preventing the people from rising up as one nation against God. just like the Tower of Babel, right?
Right.
And in essence, you could say that God divided the nations to prevent a new world order, perhaps. But now we're seeing the new world order starting to come together globally, because globally it's synchronizing with the public health response across the United Nations member states, new powers granted to the UN and its organizations at the cost of national sovereignty. And universally, it applies regulations and multilateral agreements that give birth to globalization. So the UN has been instructing nations who are members. So, some people say they don't have no power. They're just basically a liaison agency. And that might be true. Other
In
people,
the UN?
Yeah. Other people give
Hopefully.
them total governance.
Mm.
Now, I think that it's just a member organization, a facade for the members that are in it who are Luciferian. We know that they're members from the Golden Dawn, members from the OTO, Theosophists.
Wow.
I think it's just an organizational structure for them to
Right.
produce their policies. Because as I mentioned before, the United Nations has on its board and was part of the United Nations, especially in its beginnings, was Lucis Trust. And Lucis Trust is the New Age organization of Luciferianism, and they even admit that they worship Lucifer now on their website. And they even admit that their name, Lucis Trust, comes from their original name, Lucifer Publishing. They don't even hide it anymore, Darren.
Right.
They used to, but they have 24 esoteric books. And by esoteric, we mean hidden or occult. And
Wow.
the occult books are books that they teach their members. And their members are taught those policies for the United Nations. And they hide their doctrines of Lucis Trust and New World Order and New Age under political name policies.
Yep. It's all semantics,
Yeah.
I wonder if they're connected somehow with the Bilderberg Group, the UN members. I think they're separate. Aren't they?
They're probably separate, but they interlace together because the Bilderbergs are sort of a annual member. It's like a CFR almost, but it's a closed membership.
Right, and they decide what the events for the world will be. And
yeah, if not decide, they get together to compare notes between technologies, banking, electronics, things like that, to see where they're going and what people are doing with their sectors, and they kind of correspond the sectors. But they're not allowed to take notes or keep minutes. They basically have an open forum that they attend to keep each other abreast to the coming scenarios for the year, of which each sector has a place in.
Okay, it's not as nefarious as I thought it would be, but maybe it is. Maybe they're just striving for one world.
It's still secret, and they still have a closed meeting.
Right.
But they want to get, like there's college deans. Shirley, I can't remember her name, from our college here, RPI, attended at one year.
Wow.
And, was that because she's part of the Illuminati? Or is it because they wanted to see the technology that RPI has developed so they can see how advanced they are and how they can use it for the future? Now, they'll say they're doing it for benevolence, but we know that they're doing it for the benefit of the New World Order. But Shirley, whatever, doesn't know that. She's just giving her minutes to them.
Compartmentalization, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I know her I met her secretary. I don't know him. Her secretary. I met him at a party, and I tried to sift his brain about what she found out about there. And
that would have been nice.
He wouldn't tell me anything. So
gag order.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the United Nations has been a vehicle basically to regulate monetary systems, environmental control, population control, which is called sustainable development as their political thing.
Nice fancy words for these diabolical schemes.
Exactly. And under the New World
fool the
Order,
people.
under the New Age Lucis Trust, it's called harmony. Harmony, peace between the humans and the world.
Mm-hmm.
But that means that some humans have to be sacrificed for the good of humanity, for the good of harmony of nature.
Yep, and that's about 6.5 billion people,
Yeah.
according to the Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, that has to be eliminated, right?
Right.
Correct. Reproductive health, they define that. They redefine genders. The UN is they're developing digital IDs, surveillance, agriculture, wages, climate modifications. They came up with One World Health. And all these are globalist programs.
Mm-hmm.
So they seek globalized control as a means for world peace and harmony. And they say they're ending wars and conflicts and offense. But I've seen the UN military go out and cause wars and conflicts. But they say they're doing it for peace. Or are they actually just trying to end human rights? Because that's what it seems like.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the Patriot Act taking away our rights.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, speaking of, are you familiar with Nikki? What's her?
Haley?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now you know what. She's a candidate for a Republican, right?
Well, pseudo-Republican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She sided with these things that you just mentioned.
Of course.
The
Yeah, wolf in
Patriot Act
sheep's
and
clothing.
stuff. And now
Yep.
she's proposing. I have an article here. She's proposing for this censorship and surveillance. She says it's necessary to stamp personal identity to all those who use the internet, justifying the idea as a national security prerogative. She's saying that she's proposing that surveillance tools be used to monitor and identify everyone using the internet. That way we could keep a close eye on people that are sending information. Boy, that sounds very communist to me.
Of course she is.
I don't want to put her in office.
No way.
She's in agreement with the social credit score system that rates the requirements of citizens to be registered, to plug into the rating compliance in order to work, travel, receive benefits, supplies, and even get wages. And she was on board with vaccines too and boosters.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Glad you're exposing her.
Yeah.
This is great.
So these guys are lockstep with this stuff. You can't trust either one of them.
Nope.
And they used the pandemic. The COVID crisis was to allow an excuse of a pandemic so they could reset policies and create universal health codes under the liaison of the World Health Organization under the UN. The UN to accelerate the international agreements that advanced the UN as a world government. So these things, the globalization that these things do, the UN nations cause the member nations to surrender individual sovereignty for global compliance. And there's people involved like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the World Bank, Gavi, World Trade Organizations, European Unions, and the WEF, World Economic Forum, that are conglomerates to make these things, popular worldwide. Just for an example, the WEF and the UN signed a strategic agreement and partnership in 2019. The WEF has a commitment to stakeholder capitalism, by which private partnerships work to control governments, corporations to control things. We mentioned this. We talked about the stakeholder capitalism, remember? Where corporations would govern certain policies. But this is no more than corporations owning sectors and owning governments, like the East India British House.
Right.
The East India what is it called? The British East India Company. They use the corporation to seize the nation and dominate through stakeholders. It's just like that. It's nothing more than banks controlling governments. They did it with Africa too, through Cecil Rhodes. So the WEF is a trade organization representing world's largest corporations. Kind of just like the other things we mentioned. And they look into technologies and see the advancement through economic growth opportunities for its corporate members. They're designed to advance the economic power of global elite members known as the billionaire class. And they plan to reset with a great reset. The UN also hosts Agenda 2030. And this is to transform the world. It was signed into international law in 2015. Did you know that?
I wasn't sure the exact year.
Yeah, supposedly. It elevates the United Nations to a position of self-serving global governance bureaucracy. So it's kind of a bureaucracy board, if you want to look at it that way. But Agenda 2030 came out of the Agenda 21. And who was the author of that?
Agenda 21 or 2030?
Yeah, both of them.
Both of them.
Well, the Agenda 21 spawned Agenda 2030. The author,
Klaus Schwab?
Nope, it was Maurice Strong. And Maurice Strong, under the environmental departments of the United Nations, was a strong Golden Dawn member, the occult member of the Golden Dawn, which is an Illuminati type of offshoot. And he designated his estate to Lucis Trust, or to Theosophy, to the New Age groups. They're stout New Agers. That's what they are. So Agenda 21 is basically a New Age agenda, masked as environmental regulations.
Like NCON.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Now, it has, the Agenda 2030 has 17 goals, and I'm not going to recite them all. We've talked about some of the treaties to protect the planet from degradation. Why are they trying to keep the planet from degradation? Managing natural resources and taking urgent action with climate change. My proposing is that they are doing so because they want to preserve the earth, because they know God's going to destroy it, but they want it to keep going. Actually, sin started contaminating the world and making it corrupt, but God is going to have a new heaven and earth. They want to keep it going because Lucifer wants to rule as long as he can, and he knows judgment is coming. So I think that's why they don't want the planet degrading. Plus, they want to outsmart God. So these policies are mocking God in a way. They want to achieve full production of employment and decent work for men and women, eliminate discriminatory laws, practices. But see, they're not really getting rid of discrimination or racism. They're getting rid of the politically correct versions, because they will still slander Christians and conspiracy theorists. They say they want safe regulations to benefit people, give birth registrations. Now they want to identify us. They want identities for us.
When you say safe regulation, would that encompass OSHA, Occupational Safety Health Agency?
That might even be under UN type of things, is it? Or
probably.
Is it federal?
I'm not sure though.
I know that, when you have hazardous material and you have that UN number for the hazardous material, that stands for United Nations.
Wow.
That's United Nations biohazards numbers. They're regulated under United Nations.
I mean, I don't mind that because, it lets people know it's, biohazard. So.
Right. I mean, there is a purpose for it. I'm not saying there isn't, but we're talking about the underlining purpose. If they can control what's safe and what's not safe, they dictate what is safe and what is not safe. Now, they will come against biohazards like that, right? But then they'll allow GMOs and hazardous stuff, toxins in our foods.
Yep.
You know what's
Graphene
funny?
oxide.
You know what's funny? Other nations, even Canada, doesn't have the GMOs and the tampered foods like we do. America seems like it's used as a cesspool to test all these variations of foods, alternative foods.
Right. We're the richest nation, but yet we're the sickest and the most unhealthy.
Yeah.
Because it's deliberate. We're deliberately targeted by a certain group of.
That's right.
I think
Now-
you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I think that, notice that they're allowing contaminated foods and they're dousing them with like human embryos. Why do you think they're doing that?
Well, that's for a part of cannibalism to get us to be like cannibals. right?
Exactly. What does that do? That mocks God, kind of. Gets
Absolutely.
us to unwittingly follow through with the immoralities, perversions against God.
Yep. Color their matzo balls red with the blood of sacrificed babies and ship the remains off to the fast food restaurants.
People think
It's the reality, people.
Yeah, people think that's oh, you guys are stretching. Why else would they put human embryos in foods? What's
Pepsi,
that formula?
soft drinks.
Yeah, Heck 293. I have an article of it. I think it's called Two. And they admit that it's human embryos. They admit that
absolutely.
it's baby
Yep.
tissue.
Yeah,
But
even
they
in
say-
soft drinks, there's
yeah.
that's so
they-
they can get us. They're cannibals. They're drinking blood of literally.
Yeah.
I even have a rabbi. I heard him on recording saying, we kill the enemies, their infants' enemies, and we drink their blood on Passover and
Yeah.
shit.
They admit this. And then people say, oh, it's just fantasy.
No.
Why do they put human embryos, fetal tissues in foods? They admit they do.
Yeah, it's those ignorant fools that are blindly closing their eyes to this is the reason why they're getting this far.
Well, here's what I want to make a point of that. Even though they admit they do, they don't admit that they kill fetuses, real human fetuses, to get that. They claim that they are synthetic material, based on the fetal tissues, but not the actual fetal tissues. My question to you, Darren, would be, why are these sick puppies actually simulating, even if it's a simulation, why are they simulating human tissues to put it in foods? We don't need that.
But it's not.
Do you know why? You already said why. But what they are what they say they're doing is they say it's to flavor the foods with natural flavors that the body would receive it better.
There's things called stevia. There's things called was it ETH? I forget the name of it. It's just a plant-based sugar substitute. In fact, I just had some this morning. Delicious. Yesterday. So I got to comment on that Planned Parenthood people. Okay. Yeah, they're all tied in together. Right?
Yeah. There was a guy. He was a Satanist, and he came out from Planned Parenthood and says, "Yeah, we do conduct rituals behind the scenes." Now, I'm not saying every Planned Parenthood is a satanic ritual site. What I'm saying is the Satanists there do perform rituals, and they do use the embryos, and they do sacrifice them as part of their sacrifice. They do consider that if you're a Satanist and you can't really conduct human sacrifices, child sacrifices, what's the next best thing, Darren? Join Planned Parenthood. And you're doing it right legitimately. They're helping you. But, I have to say that I'm speculating that the tissues are sold. I don't want to accuse, because I don't want to falsely be accused of saying something, against litigation or something. But it's suspicious that there's fetal tissues in foods, and then you got fetal tissues from, aborted babies. Just put two and two together.
Yep.
So
In fact, didn't they find a genetic humans inside burgers from fast food restaurants?
They claimed there was remains, but what they said was, it was probably the DNA from the workers that got.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they'll twist everything. People will
tell you the
it.
truth. Yeah.
Yeah, they tell you the truth.
Yeah. Anybody believes them there's no hope for them. That's
Yeah.
simple.
So
Gullible.
they call it in the ingredients. You won't find like HEK 293 or whatever it is. You won't find that. What is the ingredient under? Now sometimes there's undisclosed ingredients they're allowed to put in there that they don't have to tell secret ingredients. Where is the secret ingredients of embryos? Have you ever seen it?
Where is?
Yeah, where is it on the ingredients? Have you ever seen it?
Never. No. Oh wait, where's the secret? You mean the camouflaged name?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Let's see.
I'm not
sure.
You'll get sickened when you hear this.
I'm ready.
Natural flavoring.
Oh man, because it's natural. A baby's a natural.
Yeah.
Yep.
So think about this. Okay, we just uncovered something. So when it was exposed, the experiments for HEK 293, I should get that right because I've been reciting this and I want people looking it up and saying, what is it really? We can't find it. So let me look it up. Give me a second.
So I'll bet all of our listeners, including us, are somehow consuming what you just said. I hate to say this. Do you think so or no?
They're what?
We're all consuming what they want us to. That's
we have no choice. It's in our foods. It is. I was right. HEK 293. Okay,
Wow.
So it's the embryo cells taken from aborted babies, but they claim it's synthetic with tissue that they synthetically modify to produce. Now think about this, Darren. If it's synthetic, it's no longer natural, is it?
correct.
So they would be falsely utilizing the word natural flavoring for something they're trying to say that it's synthetic. So they're lying either way. They're either lying and it's not natural, or it is natural and they're lying that it's synthetic, which I would say is more correct.
It's a catch-22 for them.
Yep. And they're putting it in ingredients in soft drinks and other foods. I have an article on this. I don't have a full article. I don't know what happened. I think my article got taken down. I had a full article in one of the, I don't know where it went. But so these are the things that these are the natural flavorings and everything. So all right, so this is all part of the New World Order. And this is what the United Nations, now they're putting. Did you see that there's ingredients now in foods that are called something that are actually, it stands for insects.
I think I've heard that before, yeah.
I don't know the ingredient name. I can't remember, but it's an ingredient and they exposed it and said, oh, this is the term they're using for insects. This is the New World Order way. Put insects in our foods? Why? Again.
Because they're diabolical, they're evil.
Well, they're saying it's for our benefit so we can prolong food. We don't have a food shortage. We have a regulation problem.
Well, they're trying to make a food shortage by blowing up all of our food plants and burning everything. So
exactly.
Taking over the farmland. So people, we need to wake up and put a stop to this. Stop keeping your head in the sand and calling us a bunch of
nuts. Yeah. Well, people are, I like to think people are waking up. They have surveillance things now. They're reporting that the White House has surveillance programs giving cop access to U.S. phone records. AT&T is contributing to this, and unfortunately, I'm on AT&T, where they conduct analysis of U.S. records for criminal activity. However, what they don't say is that they're allowing other departments like local police and sheriff's departments, U.S. Customs, postal inspectors across the country, and other agencies to get the access to our data if you're not a criminal. Now, how can they do that? How do they get around that? What they do, Darren, is if you have a criminal in your family and they're claiming that they're using this data for interrogating the criminal, they can go into the criminal's connections. So if you're a family member or a friend, they now can claim that they have legitimate access to go through your records.
I'm sure they do it even anyway, even if you don't have any criminal.
You can't trust them.
Of course not.
It's called the DAS program.
Mm-hmm.
Did I mention it? What it was?
No.
Lost it here. Oh, Data Analytical Services. So.
Nice fancy name for that.
Yeah, nice fancy name. So the White
like
House
the
is
rest of them.
providing $6 million for discretionary funds to fund it. Yet they don't know how much they're giving AT&T for the vast collection of American call records. But AT&T have an incentive to keep the records for at least 10 years, as opposed to other companies that only keep it for 2 years. So they have 10 years on me, apparently. I don't know. I guess if they want, if they think my life is that exciting, go for it.
Yep.
All I do is expose articles. All I do is bring out what they're doing, what they're telling us. That's all I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I got any magic or anything or any secrets. I mean, I do have, some, but I mean, everything I have is legitimately can be found. It's not like I'm saying something that is a government secret.
Mm-hmm.
But this is all leading to the New World Order. They say it's controlled through the UN. I think the UN is just a bureaucracy. There's people pulling strings all over the place. And there's payoffs with these things and everything else. So,
I think you're right on that.
yeah. All right, Darren, I don't have anything else.
Let's see, yeah, it's pretty good current events, update. And I know it's not the most exciting, I should say the most comforting
No.
topic that we shared tonight, but it's reality, people,
Yep,
you can look into it and see it's true.
Go to sleep now. No,
Sweet dreams, people.
You know what? I actually knowing this stuff, it helps me sleep, because if I didn't know what they were doing, I'd be more nervous. But now that I know, it's like I'd rather see it coming than be blindsided. So I think it does help me sleep. Ironically enough,
that's a good point. Yeah. This way you know where to hide or
which way's up. Yeah.
So.
All right, we'll end there. My website, JimDukePerspective.com. Check us out. YouTube, I'm under Jim D Perspective. I had to change the name because I got found out. We're on all social medias. We're on every podcast player. So spread the news, share this information. We'll try to keep it a little bit entertaining for you along the way. So hope you're still listening. And bring up our numbers. Come on, share this information.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you later. God bless.